morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Jennifer Bevins. I'm a landscape designer here in Vero Beach, Florida. We are in my backyard, and I thought I would share a cup of coffee today and talk about the nippy weather. So we're bound to get a cold front through this winter season, and when that happens, I get tons of calls from my clients on what to do and how to do it. And you know, we all want to protect our beautiful landscapes. So I thought I would do a quick video and share 3 quick tips on how I best protect my plants and trees through the season. These have been tried and true. My garden is about 25 years old here, and I rarely, if ever, have lost anything during my winter season. So we're fortunate enough in Florida not to have too many, and they're not to be too fierce. So I think that this is a pretty good combat on what to do when the temperatures hit. So tip number 1, water, water, water. So we usually know in our area when we're getting a cold snap. That 4 or 5 days in advance, you know, they start talking about it on the news, and it's, you know, it's pretty extreme. So, which I understand, because I'm a native Floridian, and I'll be honest, you know, anything under 40 degrees, I tend to hibernate myself. So I feel for my poor plants. So when that happens, I start the watering process. So I pipe up my irrigation system, and I make sure that my plants are getting a really almost a soggy type of situation. So I want all my planting beds to be nice and moist, nice and wet. So I would stop about, my garden drains really well, so I stop about 12 hours before the frost. So I water every single day, and you know, usually about 45 minutes to 50 minutes, where I normally water about 15 minutes. So it kind of gives you a guideline there. But about 12 hours before the frost, I make sure to cut that water off, and then let everything dry out right before we get those cold dips. If you're in North Vero or West Melbourne, which that soil just does not drain well, if you're in those areas, then you want to do that 24 hours. Cut your water off. Just make sure that there is no visible water, no sitting water of any kind in your planting beds prior to that frost hitting. So because plants do not like it. So and then the second is, now I know we all want to cover with sheets. I used to cover with sheets until I realized very quickly that plant blankets really do the job. Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon, they all have plant blankets. They all come in different sizes. I have a very large garden, so I really like the assortment of being able to use those long linear plant blankets. For my gardens, and it really shortens that time period. I fold those bad boys up when it's not season and put them in my attic, and then bring them down for doom and gloom times. But the plant blankets are fibrous. They don't breathe as much as sheets do, so you really do get that insulated coverage for those plants. So with those plant blankets, imagine you're kind of creating a hot air balloon for them. So you want to kind of put the plant in place, take that plant blanket, wrap it all the way around the plant, pin it at each end. So that way, all of the heat that's coming from our ground, all that watering that you did, allows that warmth of that soil where heat rises. You know, thank goodness in Florida we have pretty much of a hot ground. So as that cold front moves in, you'll notice that heat starts to rise. And what we're trying to do is trap that heat around those plants. So in turn, you're kind of creating a hot air balloon for each of your plants. So a little bit of warmth in there. And you kind of want to make sure that all of your plants, or all of your specialty plants that you're gonna need to cover, really go all the way to the ground. I use weed fabric stakes to stake in all the edges, so that way it's nice and tight. But you can use stone, you can use, you know, little rocks, you can use statues, you can use pots, you can use whatever's on hand. But you kind of want to make sure it drapes all the way over and mushrooms down, and then pins at the bottom. So that is the best way to control the heat for your plants. The third tip is and this is rare that we had this happen, but you know, we get a cold snap and then it warms up through the day, and then we get another cold snap at night, and then, you know, if that can happen, you know, throughout a few days, then you want to make sure that you don't keep your plant covered at a solid time more than 48 hours. So at that 48-hour mark, if it looks like we're going to get another cold snap that comes in 3 days later, you're going to want to uncover and then recover. So you want to uncover, moist the soil around it, then recover it back up again, and you know, and then prepare for the next snap. So it's kind of tuck in, tuck out, but you know, it's worth it, because you know, at that point you're losing very little of that plant growth that you gained all year long. So, which is bonus point. If you do uncover, now we go from 30 degrees back up to 80 degrees, like Florida tends to do. Your whiplash back into that warm weather. Now you're seeing everything start to, you know, new growth starting to come back on your plants, but that old growth that may have gotten burnt on the tips. So you got some plants that, or some leaves that have curled and dried or turned brown a little bit. You're tempted to cut those back. I know I am. So, but leave them, because if we get another cold snap, all of that leaf foliage that protects the interior portion of the plant from getting too burnt. So just leave that in place, and then wait until, you know, I usually wait until late February, maybe March, to cut that back fully, and then you obviously don't have to worry about it from that point on. So but I hope this helps. If there's anything that I've missed, please stick it in the comments, or any other questions that you might have. I'd be happy to answer. If you enjoy these videos, subscribe and like, and I would be happy to continue making them. So it was fun. Happy Saturday. I will enjoy my coffee on the deck. I hope you guys enjoy your day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.